Hey, Trevor Alexander here with Saddlery. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to sharpen a head knife. Now I've been working with head knives for about 7 years now, and I feel like they're the best leather cutting tool there is. To make sure that they're the best cutting tool that there is, we're going to make sure they're really sharp. So to do that, we have a couple different stones. We have this, it's a double-sided stone. It's got a coarse grit on the bottom and a medium grit on the top. And then this is a really fine stone. And then on this side of it, we have our stropping film. We have 3 micron and 1 micron. Okay, so to start off, we're gonna establish an angle. So this knife already has a pretty good bevel on it, but if your knife doesn't, then you wanna keep it about a 20-degree angle. Something that has a more delicate edge, like a kitchen knife, you could bring it into this 15-degree angle, and it's gonna be extremely sharp. It's just not gonna hold an edge for as long as something, say, at the 20-degree angle. So that angle is measured from the edge to this area here. So just tip it up till it's about a 20-degree angle. If your knife's old and has a lot of use, then you're gonna have to remove a lot of material here to get that to a 20-degree angle. It's gonna take you some time, but just keep working at it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start cutting in this bevel. Another thing to note, 20 degrees is a good rule of thumb, but the steeper that your angle is, the stronger your edge will be, but the less sharp it'll be. The flatter your bevel is, the sharper it will be, but it will be less likely to hold an edge. So 20 degrees is a nice angle for that. And what I'm doing here is I'm flattening out that bevel. So after use, your bevel starts to get rounded. I'm gonna make sure that's good and flat. We're gonna expose the fresh steel on the edge. So I'm going to be working this one side down. I'm going to work it down until I can feel a burr on this surface here. And that burr is just a little wire edge that's just the steel has rolled up and creates a little lip on this side. It's also good to remember that you want to have a really firm grip on the knife. You don't want it wobbling or anything when you're running it on the stone. So if it's wobbling as I'm going, then it's gonna have different angles as it goes across the stone, and it's just gonna be an inconsistent sharpening. So I wanna lock in that knife. Another mistake that people will make is they'll be pushing too hard on the stone, and it'll wear out your stone faster, and it honestly won't cut any faster. So just a nice steady pressure, not anything too strong. I'm starting to get a burr right on that corner and on that corner. So keep working this middle until there's a nice burr all the way around. Just about there. Okay, and we've got a pretty good burr all the way around. So now we're gonna flip the knife over, and we're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. So on a head knife, you're wanting to roll it across the stone, where on another style of knife, you're pretty much just pushing straight across the stone, because the head knife has so many more angles to it that you have to really roll it across and keep a consistent angle across. Check for a burr. This side the burr should be there pretty early on. Just a little more work to do. So once I'm this far in, I'm gonna really ease up pressure on the knife, and it's pretty much just gonna be the weight of my hand and the weight of the knife. I'm gonna flip it one more time to this side. roll that burr back over. Okay, this will be our last flip on this grit. Okay, now we're going to switch it over to the other grit. We're going to start on the opposite side that we were just working. So the burr is on this side. So I'm going to lay that burr down. And just keep doing the same thing you've been doing. Burr is flipped over. We're going to flip the knife over. You'll notice as the steel starts getting polished more, it'll glide across the stone a little easier. And that's pretty much all we're doing right now, is starting a polishing process. One more flip on this grit, and then we'll go to the next one. Okay, so now we're going to go to our final grit of stone, which this is a really fine grit. This one is a 2000 grit stone. We're just going to do the same exact thing we've been doing, really carefully. Just bringing it across there. So if you've gone and chipped your knife, then you're going to still do the same thing we're doing here, except if the chipped spot, you're going to really work that spot out until the chip's gone on the heavier stone. And then you'll just continue like normal. Now when you do that, when you get a chip and you work an area down a lot, it's going to change the shape of your knife. So keep that in mind. You may want to be more aggressive all the way around to keep your knife shape consistent, or just don't chip your knife in the first place. Okay, so now that our burr has been flipped a couple times on this 2000 grit, we're going to flip it over. We're going to start on the 3 micron side. And we are going to be stropping it against the blade of the knife. So we don't want to strop it with the blade of the knife, but against, or else you'll tear up your strop. You want to be pretty light with this. Take your time. You'll start to see the edge of your knife will be polished. After the 1 micron, it will be really polished. And while we're stropping it, we will be removing that burr that we established at the first part of the sharpening. Once that burr falls off, then we'll have a really, really sharp knife. It's important to make sure you keep your angle the same while you're stropping it as you were when you were using the stone. Okay, so now that we're done with the 3 micron, we're going to go to the 1 micron. Okay, and now we're going to take it over to a buffing wheel, and we're going to buff the edge to just get our final polish to it. So it's important to notice this buffing wheel is set up so it goes away from you. It's set up backwards. That way you can hold your knife in here. If your buffing wheel is set up the other way, then it could cause some issues. It would grab a hold of that knife blade and it'd throw it. So make sure you set up your buffer backwards or buff like this. So since mine's set up backwards, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Then I'm going to be watching this shadow here. If you can see a shadow between your blade and the buffing wheel, that means you're not buffing clear to the edge. You want to just go till that shadow disappears, so you're just buffing the edge. Okay, she feels good and sharp. Let's go test it out on a piece of leather. Okay, now that our knife's nice and sharp, we're going to go ahead and try it out. Try it with a skive cut. You'll notice it immediately bites into the leather. So if it's not biting into the leather, that means you need more sharpening, and that would be a good indication of when your knife needs to be sharpened, is when it stops biting in. If it takes pushing to make it bite in, this is just, there's no resistance before it starts biting in. That's how you know if your knife is sharp or if you need to get it sharper. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to Shop Talk for more videos like this.